I went to the hospital to get my finger stitched and got a bill for $82,000. When I refused to pay, the hospital sued me for fraud. I was cooking dinner when the knife slipped and sliced my finger open down to the bone. My fiancé drove me to the ER. They stitched me up in 30 minutes, in and out. I gave them my insurance card and said they would cover the payment. 2 weeks later, I got a bill in the mail for $82,000. I stared at it. My insurance had denied coverage. Surprise, surprise. But the actual surprise wasn't even the bill. It was that the procedure I was expected to pay for was listed as a spinal reconstruction surgery with titanium rod insertion. I never had surgery. My back was perfectly fine. I called the billing department. There's been a mistake. I only got stitches. The woman pulled up my account. Our records show you had spinal reconstruction 15 days ago. You owe $82,000. I didn't have surgery. I got stitches in my finger. Sir, our system doesn't make mistakes. She hung up on me. I stared at the bill feeling like my life was falling apart. I'd been working overtime and saving every penny for 2 years to surprise my fiancé with a down payment on our dream house. We were closing in 3 weeks with $85,000 saved. This bill would eat everything. I called the billing supervisor minutes later, but she was even worse. You had the surgery, pay the bill. I called my insurance next, but they sided with the hospital since the medical records proved surgery occurred. I was taken aback. How could records prove I had surgery when I didn't? I contacted the hospital immediately and requested my full medical records. I wasn't expecting not to hear back from them. No way did I just not remember getting surgery. But then the medical records arrived a week later. I saw my surgical notes, anesthesia logs, recovery room documentation the day I went into the hospital, all with my name, my birth date, and patient ID. This wasn't just a billing error. They were actually trying to make me pay over $80,000 for a surgery I never had. I called the hospital back. Your medical records are lying. I never had surgery. I can provide x-rays proving I have no titanium rod in my spine. We don't need new x-rays. Our records are final. Their collections people started calling 6 times a day, threatening a lawsuit. This was weird. Hospitals don't usually move this aggressively this fast. Why were they pushing so hard? I hired a lawyer. Cost me $3,000 from our house savings. He requested the hospital provide proof. They sent the same records again. Refused to elaborate and demanded payment in full within 30 days. 4 weeks passed. The hospital filed a lawsuit. $82,000 plus $8,000 in fees and interest. Their motion claimed I was committing insurance fraud by denying the surgery. Even worse, the hospital discovered through court filings that I was buying a house. Their lawyer contacted my real estate agent directly, told him I had an active lawsuit and was under investigation for fraud. We lost the house that day. My lawyer got a court order for an independent spinal x-ray, which came back showing no titanium rod. We submitted it to court, but the hospital's lawyer claimed the x-rays were fabricated. Then they filed to freeze my bank accounts to preserve assets for debt collection. The judge granted it. I couldn't access my savings. The wedding was in 6 weeks. I asked my lawyer, why are they doing all this? My coworker has owed them $100,000 for 3 years, and they're not this aggressive with him. He didn't have an answer for me. The judge set trial for 8 weeks out. The hospital refused settlement. They wanted the full $82,000 plus fees. Trial day arrived. My lawyer demanded the hospital produce the surgeon who performed my spinal reconstruction. That's when the cracks started showing. The hospital's lawyer said the surgeon was unavailable and not required to testify. The judge leaned forward. You're suing this man for $82,000 and you won't produce the surgeon? The medical records speak for themselves, Your Honor. You have 24 hours to produce the surgeon or I'm dismissing this case. The next day, the hospital's lawyer stood up looking resigned. Your Honor, the surgeon cannot testify because the surgery was performed on a different patient. The courtroom went silent. Excuse me? There was a patient ID error in our system. The surgery occurred, but on a different patient. My lawyer jumped in. And where is that patient? That patient's account is settled. They paid $350 months ago, and since it's settled, we cannot bill them again. He pointed at me. His account is the only one still open for this surgery, and the only one we can collect payment from. My lawyer was on his feet. So you're admitting you want my client to pay his life's work because you made a billing error. The hospital's lawyer actually turned to the judge. Your Honor, the surgery happened. Someone has to pay for it. The judge looked disgusted. You want this man to pay for your mistake? We want payment for services provided. The situation is unfortunate, but doesn't change that we're owed $82,000. The judge looked at him like how I imagine Saint Peter looks at a predator. His gavel came down hard. Case dismissed. I'm sanctioning the hospital $25,000 for a frivolous lawsuit. The hospital paid my $15,000 in legal fees plus the $25,000 sanction. My bank account was unfrozen. I used the money plus our savings to buy an even better house. We closed within 3 weeks. I sued the hospital for defamation, and they settled for $175,000. We used the settlement to pay off the entire mortgage and got married debt-free.